is going on? Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the MLB Strategy Show presented by PrizePicks. I'm Eric Lindquist. We're going to talk through these going to be five, let's be serious, 5 games that we've got ahead of us because Arizona-Cincy does not look too good in the weather department right from the get-go, but I'm going to be helping you break everything down. But who's going to be doing all the heavy lifting? Who's going to really be breaking everything down? It's T. McBee, the king of the blue site. How you doing this morning, my dude?
Doing pretty well, bud. It was a weird little weekend, not being on shows, not doing content, but took a few days off there. And yeah, good to be back in front of the camera and here hanging out with the people. So looking forward to diving into this thing. My article will be back up on the site today. All systems go. Yeah,
I had a nice little afternoon off yesterday after car got broken into. Had all of the madness that ensued from that. It is really ridiculous. Well, so my wife had her purse in the back. And we went hiking, went running, did all the stuff. And obviously there was nobody around that we saw. So somebody might've been sitting in a car that was nearby and just knew exactly where it was. They broke the window exactly where it was and took her purse. So you have ID, you have everything down the line, and you have to we're getting our locks changed. We're getting, dealing with insurance it's just not fun. So I don't recommend anybody take their purse when they go to a hiking or running site.
Yeah, probably good advice there. And just, that sucks. I mean, and I'm sure it's like a feeling of insecurity with not knowing what the person, could know or do or what their goal was. But yeah, that sucks. But I mean, in the grand scheme of things, at least you guys weren't there and, everybody was safe. So yeah, there is that aspect of it too.
Well, also, if I had been there, I would have beat the shit out of him because I'm actually sneaky.
Oh, that's true.
I'm sneaky scary when it comes to the whole fighting department. Yeah, Jordan Klein, he knows. Yeah, Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with. That's for sure. That's me over here. No, that's probably not me, but you know what it is. I just got that crazy South Dakota in me. If we had been nearby, it would have been more fun.
Yeah, you got that like I got to defend my land kind of mentality in there. So,
like a pioneer on the prairie.
I'm just some like not very large schmuck from Jersey who's like, I live in an apartment. I don't have any land to defend. Yeah. It's like if I catch somebody breaking in, I'm probably going to help them carry my TV out and just be like,
have you ever been on a farm before, Terry?
I've been on a farm. Jersey got a ton of farms. Yeah, we're the
okay.
Come on.
I'm just saying, what's the smallest town you've ever lived in?
The smallest town I've ever lived in. I lived outside of Atlanta. I'm not sure how big that town was.
Atlanta?
Atlanta? No, outside of Atlanta. There's a
I know.
Town was the suburb I grew up in here was like 65,000 people. It's a fairly big town in Jersey. I would say probably the first when I was born, I lived up on Lake Mayapack in New York in like Westchester County. That was probably the smallest town for like a year, but no actual formative experience in a small town.
Yeah, golf driver to the ball. Yeah, I didn't even have my golf clubs in the back. Thank God for that. That if they had taken my golf clubs, I would not be sleeping, right? Well, I already didn't get any sleep last night. You just kind of stay up all night and you have your doors locked and we use our dog cage to like brace the door. We're just in full lockdown mode. Like I don't know.
Do you have any of that like Odenkirk in that movie Nobody where he just like wants to go out?
Oh, nobody's. Yeah, I was gonna say. Oh, that's an incredible movie too.
Yeah. I hope they do another one. They were supposed to take that and say that, all right, this exists in the John Wick universe, and they were going to connect the two characters a little.
Oh my God!
But after Odenkirk's heart attack, I don't know if he's going to come back and do another one, but that would be great if they did that. That would be fun.
He is such an incredible actor. Bob Odenkirk, Better Call Saul for the people who don't know. Check that out. Check out Breaking Bad. It seems like a pretty good show.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
All right, smash the like button. Oh, go ahead. What?
One of the all-time sketch comedy writers, like Odenkirk. Just gotta give him his full due.
He's an absolute stud. But let's get to it. Again, we've got baseball. This should be able to be an easy show to get done in an hour. 5 games, pretty much 6 games. We're going to cover the first one. In the event that God parts the Red Sea and they're able to play the game. Oh, that's ironic because they're called the Reds. That's the team in this very first game. Jordan Klein behind the virtual glass, by the way. I like him, but not when he doesn't invite me out, but I suppose I couldn't have driven. So it's a moot point.
What, they don't have Uber in California now?
Yeah, no, they don't, Jordan. They don't. Yeah, they do. And
you would have had to pay like $120 to get over here in an Uber.
You saying that you're not worth $120?
I just don't think $240 round trip for you made sense. We'll see you Wednesday.
I don't know. I'm good at DFS. Arizona plus 103 at Cincinnati. Cincinnati 9.5 total runs here in this one. We've got Great American Small Park. You're seeing a 4.6, 4.9 implied run on both sides of these. And two pitchers that one you believe in, one you, I'm curious what you think about Hunter Green so far, because he's one of my favorite young pitchers on planet Earth, even though the results haven't been there. But starting with your guy, Mad Bum, if this game plays, first of all, I do have weather concerns where they would actually have to stop the game as it's going on multiple times, perhaps. I don't really see there being any clearing all day in Cincinnati, but is in the event that there is some kind of a break in the weather where they get a chance to play it, is Madison Bumgarner somebody that you're going to go back to the well on?
He's been difficult to get right. Like I got him right a couple times early in the year. Then he had a couple weird starts where he was pitching okay, and then just wasn't really striking anybody out, and then ran into trouble. Last time out, he was pretty good against the Dodgers on a day where I was saying like it's absolutely not the right day to play Mad Bum. Going up against the Reds here in a game where if this happens to play, they're creating runs 5% worse than average against lefties. They got a 24.1% strikeout rate against lefties. He's not currently good. He's not currently striking out a ton of people, but he has been fairly good at pitching effectively, pitching into games. He's got a 3.31 ERA, if that means anything to you. The 4.75 xFIP I care about a little bit more. The 7.7% swinging strike, the 45% hard hit. These are numbers that are telling me that he's not that good, but against that offense, I think there could be reason to play him at 7,200 on each site. Out of the two pitchers, if that instance that you were talking about with a stop and start does happen, I think he'd be the more likely to retake the mound than the precious young kid. So you do have that aspect of it, but I don't really like the conditions for pitching, period. So I would be really, really limited in how much I went to this game at all for pitching. But I do think in the event that you take pitchers from this game, he would at least be in play. He's at least a consideration for minor shares. 1.5% owned on FanDuel, 6.3 on DK. It's easy enough to double the field if you want to, triple the field on FanDuel if you want to.
Yeah, I find the splits for Cincinnati against left-handed pitching home away to be really, really fascinating. I think just overall, all encompassing 83 WRC plus, 124 ISO against lefties in all situations. But at home, they become a 119 WRC plus with a 176 ISO. I mean, we're talking about this just being 100% ballpark factor. I think anytime you're playing in this ballpark in decent enough weather, now this is not decent weather. It's wind slightly blowing across the field, 7 to 10 miles an hour with 76-degree weather. So it's kind of neutral for the most part. But anytime you get any kind of decent weather, you're going to want to roster this one up. If we get to lock, this is the very first game on the slate. If we get to lock and people are starting to hit eject, but they haven't come out with any news, I might put some stacks together because you can't tell me Great American Small Park isn't a spot where I'll probably be stacking up against Madison Bumgarner. But I think the weather's just making it so difficult for me to roster him as opposed to the other pitcher in this game. If I'm going to take a risk on somebody, it might as well be a 29% K percentage guy who I think has been getting a little bit unlucky. The hard hit, he throws at 100, 101 miles an hour. The fastball is just plus. I love this young guy in Hunter Green. He's just 22. He's going to continue to get better as he goes along. He is one of the most touted prospects you're ever going to run into on planet Earth. Is Hunter Green somebody on your board for today?
Yes. I don't love the idea of, if this is a questionable weather game, I'm going to go more toward the kid who's getting a lot more ownership. That's not the ideal scenario here. Right. And he is pitching in this ballpark as well. And he is pitching against a team that has been, somewhat frisky against righties this season.
Yeah.
I'll pull up the numbers, make sure they haven't changed on me. Yeah. Arizona sitting 197 ISO. That's first in baseball. 3.85% home run rate. That's first in baseball against righties. Creating runs 5% above average. They strike out a ton. So maybe it's one of those games where he gets a number of strikeouts, but he gets dinged a little bit. If he's going to be walking guys, if he's going to be giving up a little bit of hard hit, he has a 6.82% home run rate so far this season. That is not good. 41.2% hard hit, 12.2% barrels. I agree. I think the kid is a premium arm. I think he's got dynamite stuff. I believe in the 29% strikeout rate. Even I wouldn't be surprised to see him finish the year around that number, but it's the walks, it's the contact, it's the ballpark. It's a lot of other things that kind of stack up with 14% of the field on him and the rain at 7,300, 27% of the field at 7,600 on DK. I do like the pitcher. I do think he can succeed against this team, but there's just a lot of factors stacking up against him to have that much weight on him in a rainy game. So with everything there, I'd probably aim to be under the field as a plan. And then if circumstances change where you know, you see the ownership come down radically because people expect that it's going to be canceled, but you've got a different angle on the postponement, then maybe is a good time to start loading up. At this point, I'll have some, but I'll probably be below the field.
Yeah, with it just being a 6-game slate, it was nice to be able to kind of dig into some numbers a little bit more. You can kind of really hyper analyze some of this stuff. His expected home runs, you were just touching on how big of an issue he has there. If you take all of his hard hits over the course of the season, you line him up, he should have 18 home runs given up if he played all of his games in his own ballpark. That would be the highest of any ballpark in the league. That's a lot of home runs, a third of the way through the season. So yeah, 18 home runs there. The next would be 15 at Brewers or Houston. You're looking Miller Park, whatever it's called now. It's not called Miller Park anymore, but why wouldn't it be called Miller Park? I'm just looking at Coors Field, 15. Yeah, 18 though, by far the highest in Great American Small Park. So yeah, it's a problem. That gives you some Arizona interest. I don't know how hard and how loud I can ring a bell for somebody as much as I have for Christian Walker. This guy has just been ridiculous for, if you play year long, if you play Dynasty, I mean, he has just been buoying my home runs alone, 14 so far this season, 771 OPS. He's now over 200 average guy. So not a complete dud like he was when he was batting 150 here earlier. That started to see some positive regression. It's an all or nothing type guy. He feels Zunino-ish, but he definitely doesn't have he has better plate discipline than Zunino. Pretty much you and I do too. But how do you look at this Arizona team that for me, I definitely could see some viability of stacking him up against Green?
Yeah, I think there is definitely viability there, especially, you know, given the fact that maybe you get a shortened start from Green and then they go to an even lower end pitcher, lower end in terms of like walks and stuff like that out of the pen. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I like the idea of stacking up some Diamondbacks here. Grab some Varsho up at the top. He's super popular on DK where you need a catcher, pretty popular on FanDuel as well. But something like a Varsho, Rojas, Marte, Ketel Walker, Ketel Marte, Christian Walker. Put them together either way. I'll start it as one player. David Peralta and Pavin Smith, maybe. It's really like 1 through 6 in the projected. I don't go that much further down the line here. I do think the Peralta Smith combo in the 5-6 spot, there's a decent amount of pop in there, and they're guys that the field doesn't tend to go to quite as heavily as the top 4 hitters. So I think you can get a little bit different by going to those guys. They'll be popular, but I think it makes a lot of sense to grab some D-backs, just given the propensity for the kid to allow home runs and put extra runners on base.
All right. And Cincinnati, they were popular yesterday. I didn't see how the entire scoreboard finished up yesterday. Doesn't really matter. This is not a results-based thing for me. It is a process-based thing, but they were a very, very popular baseball team. I saw when Locke came around yesterday, you're going to see some popularity there. We'll see what happens to ownership as the weather gets closer. Again, this game I expect to just be off the board, but as it stands right now, Drury, Tommy Pham, Joey Votto, those are most Nick Senzel's up there at 17.5%. DK, FanDuel, like they're just going to be owned against Madison Bumgarner. They should be owned against Madison Bumgarner, but anybody that stands out to you here in the stack?
It's probably Drury if I'm drawing one player, maybe Tommy Pham. Those are the two, in my opinion, best players on the team right now. Not a lot to love there. I don't begrudge anybody their Senzel shares at 2,900, but he's kind of popular for me for a kid who's sitting 217, 265, 057 for the ISO, or excuse me, 217, 265, 274 with an 057 ISO, creating runs 51% worse than average in 117 plate appearances. Senzel had a great prospect story on his way up, and it just never has arrived at the major league level. So I don't really believe that much now. Joey Votto is fine. Tyler Stevenson, if you want a catcher who's a little bit less popular than Dalton Varsho on the other side, but it's not my favorite team to go to. I do think there's justification, ballpark, and an opposing pitcher that you can grab some of these bats if you want them, though.
Yeah, people are looking at the box score from yesterday. He had a stolen base. He hadn't had one of those all season long, so that's kind of weird. He was really, really popular. He got there for people yesterday. No thanks on the next Nick Senzel train. Yeah.
I've rostered him when I've gone to the Reds. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
I mean, he's one of the few components on this team that can do something. It's just that he largely has not. He was that kind of a guy, like a 15-15, 15-25 type of a prospect. But like I said, it's just never really come around. 30.2% hard hit with a 2.3% barrel this year. That's not good.
No, it's very bad. You know what is good? Lindquist. I like sauerkraut on my dogs slathered with ketchup and mustard. I like my dogs with mustard and relish. Got a great pitcher. What's his name now? We can't even spell it.
Is it Garth Brooks?
I think it is. Yeah. The
good.
Cheap Seats. The View from the Cheap Seats. That's the name of the song.
That's the name of the song. I feel like I've heard the song. I feel like it's Garth Brooks. That was a weird time when Garth Brooks, was that like before you were born, probably, when Garth Brooks wanted to be a baseball player and tried out for one of these teams, Astros?
No idea. That didn't go well, I'm sure. It's like whenever you see Russell Wilson up there taking BP, you're like, what is happening? This isn't going to go
At least Russ Wilson is an athlete, though.
Yeah, that's true. That's
natural.
Garth Brooks.
Like when you see Billy Crystal up there taking at bats against the major league pitcher, it's not something that looks natural or normal.
No. Well, let's talk about the games that are actually going to be on this slate today. Once again, keep apprised of the weather. News God, he's always hanging around, taking care of you guys, letting you know exactly what needs to take place. More than likely not going to roster anything from this game because it won't get played. But here we go. Texas Rangers, 4.5 implied run total at Cleveland Guardians, 4.5 here. And I'm upset. And you probably don't know. Well, if you played DFS that day, you probably understand. But Hunter Green, Kyle Bradish were absolutely setting the world on fire through 4 innings. By far the highest scoring pitchers, just absolutely smashing. They both get lit up, don't get out of the 4th inning. Neither of them get out of the 4th inning. And then a chalky John Gray comes up, and out of the middle of nowhere, the field just knew that he was going to spike 12 strikeouts against Tampa Bay, punished me, 34.8 DraftKings points. I had none. Sad day. Well, this is a 6-game slate, so you're going to have a lot of everybody that's on the board here today. If you're making 150, you're going to be mixing and matching. And John Gray is a guy that right now, just slight negative leverage at 17% compared to Christian Javier and for sure Blake Snell's ownership. I'm okay getting to some John Gray, even though I feel like I missed the boat. How do you feel about John Gray today?
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be the exact same situation for me. Like, I feel like we're going to all pile into the John Gray ship and it's going to sink directly to the bottom of the pond here. But I think it's worth doing, just given the price, given the talent. This is a pitcher that we were kind of expecting to be pretty decent this year, pitching in Texas instead of Colorado. It's a pitcher that everybody, kind of for years, a lot like Herman Marquez now has been saying, like, I just want to see this kid when he's not pitching for the goddamn Rockies. Now he's sitting 26% strikeout rate, some of which is bolstered by that great performance the last time out, but a 3.52 xFIP. He's inducing an 11% swinging strike rate, still allowed a 44% hard hit, an 8.3% barrel, only a 2.96% home run rate. So he's been good, but not great, but that's why the prices are where they are. I think I like him better paying a little bit more for him at 8,100 and only 2.8% of the field on him on FanDuel here than I do 6,600 and 17%. That said, I think that 17% is probably low by half. I think that 66, he should be pushing that like 30% range. So I do think that's low. I do think that's targetable and playable on DK. I just like it better because nobody's going to be playing it at 8,100 on FanDuel. I think it's a better spot. The other side of that coin is that this Guardians team is pretty damn good against righties. They're best in baseball with a 15.5% strikeout rate in the split. That is really, really low. A 165 ISO is pretty good, middle of the league. 116 WRC plus is 7th. So they're very good against righties. It's dicey, but I do think there is a lot of utility in John Gray at these prices.
Yeah, they got, Stephen Kwan, who just has never struck out in his life, it feels like. So 7.6% strikeout rate. Good luck finding numbers like that. Oh, yeah, his own team. Jose Ramirez, 7%. Josh Naylor, 13%. Oscar Gonzalez so far, 13.5%. So they've added a bat in the outfield that replaces Mercado, who's around 23.8%, and it becomes 13.5%. Zoik Scoob.
Yeah. And that's a kid who hit 32 home runs in AAA last year, I want to say. And then couldn't get a full-time job in the majors coming out of spring training, but they held on to him, and good for them. 361, 378, 444, creating runs 41% better than average in his 37 plate appearances, managing the strikeouts, like you said, only walked 2.7% of those so far. So the ball's in play, and he has real power. So the home runs are coming. He hasn't hit one yet, but I believe in that kid. I like the price at 2,400 on both sites. And yeah, just looking down this lineup, in the projected lineup, only Andres Jimenez and Austin Hedges are striking out at higher than 20%, 23.6 for Jimenez and 24.4 for Hedges. You definitely take that from Jimenez, given what he's doing so far this season. 307, 329, 540, 7 home runs, 4 stolen bases for the kid, 234 ISO, creating runs 49% better than average. I've been beating the Andres Jimenez drum for a little while now, and I think people, really need to start rostering this kid. He's going under-owned again today. He's still cheap on both sites. Time to wake up and put Andres Jimenez in your Guardian stacks. Damn it. It's twice this season. Only twice.
It's okay. It's okay.
Ahmed Rosario kind of disappointing me up top. Jose Ramirez, everybody knows he's a god. Owen Miller, Josh Naylor, take him or leave him. But you can stack this team in a lot of creative ways against John Gray here.
Yeah, and I'm going to definitely have some stacks of Cleveland, no doubt about it. Good contact profile, just up and down the lineup. You're going to have opportunities to see. I always like a sweat when I'm up there or when I'm watching a game that I have a team that I stack up a lot. And I know the ball's getting put in play. It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling rather than having Joey Gallo up there. I can tell you that. Except for yesterday, it goes long again. What do I know? Yeah,
was that game on any slate? Didn't that game start at like 11 a.m.?
Yeah, it was at 8:30 my time, and I just kept. It would have been like 3 nights in a row. I just kept betting Aaron Judge to hit home run, so I did it again, and finally he burned me. It took a while. It was a good trading to be on. But let's jump over to the Cleveland starting pitcher, Cal Quantrill. Never the most exciting roster, only a 15% K percentage. But again, you're probably only going to have 10 pitchers to pick and choose from. Where does he kind of shuffle up in the priorities for you?
I'm a little surprised by how high he ranks on our top pitchers board. I just saw that. I was jumping over expecting him to be probably bottom 3. Positively leveraged, which is good. Going up against the Rangers, which is also, fairly good. They're around average. I'll pull up their splits right now. 142 team ISO. Yeah, they're even worse than I was expecting against righties. 9% worse than average creating runs. 24.1% strikeout rate is 25th. There's plenty there for a capable pitcher. I just don't know that it's Quantrill. 15.1% strikeout rate this year, just 19.6 last year, over 149 and 2/3 in 22 starts. This year, a 4.90 xFIP. He's kept the ball in the yard fairly well, 3.31% hard hit, 7.4% barrels with a 1.38% home run rate, 3.52 ERA, but the 4.90 xFIP is concerning. The lack of strikeouts is concerning. 7% swinging strike rate, only a 23.9% CSW. All of that is down. All of the strikeout related stuff, everything he can control directly has gotten worse since last year. I just don't think I want to go to Cal Quantrill here, even against this Rangers team. It probably would lead me into some Rangers stacks, to be honest.
Yeah, negative 23.8 weighted runs below average. We're just looking at a team that against right-handed pitching that was their lefty split. I apologize. Yeah, no, I had it right. 23.8. Yeah, I'm correct. Against the split there against righties. I thought I had the left column clicked. You know what? Sometimes you run good. I'm just running so good in life, Terry. That's what it is. I
made mine fairly idiot proof. It's on the same screen and the left is on the left and the right is on
That's
the right.
Exactly what I do, Terry. Oh, look at us. Best friends. This game also has weather, so be on the lookout. Going to be fun. Going to be a fun day of sweating weather in the very first 2 games of the slate. Oh, man. It's going to come down to something like that. Yeah, the weather outside is weather. If you guys know in the chat what that's from, fire it up because Terry and I know, but that would truly be you're welcome to the Best Friends Club.
Okay, Monster Man.
I can see pain in those eyes.
Movie. That's from the
same. Yeah, I know. I can see some pain in those eyes. Peepee. That probably gave it away, but we'll see. Texas, they got a 4.5 implied run total. That's cool. I can't really think of anything else that I really want to do here as far as like a priority on the Texas side, other than roster the usual suspects. Get some Seager, get some Calhoun, get some Adolis Garcia. Anything else stick out to you for Texas? Because man, do I hate stacking up this team.
I will probably get there. They're really cheap. Everybody well below 4,000 on FanDuel, everybody except for the top 2 hitters below 5,000 on DK. You can get there fairly easily. Very low ownership on Mitch Garver if he's in the lineup, below 10% on both sites, even where you do need a catcher. He's on that list of catchers that I'll play on FanDuel just because I think nobody goes there. And home run hitting catchers, especially the ones that hit 3rd, 4th, 5th in the lineup, there's a lot of sneaky value in them on FanDuel. So I might get there. It's the dual catcher version of the projected with Jonah Heim in there as well. So neither one of the catchers is getting any attention. Heim also has a decent amount of pop, so you can mix and match those guys through your lineup. Adolis Garcia not getting enough love on either site. 10 home runs, 6 stolen bases this year. Power hitters, power and speed, 31 home runs, 16 stolen bases last year. So there's a lot to like mixing and matching through at least the top 6, maybe Nate Lowe, top 7 in that lineup. You into Ezekiel Duran at all?
What?
1 home run. Ezekiel Duran.
Never heard of him.
He's hitting 8th, most likely. Min price 2,000. Hit a home run so far, 286, 714 with a 429 ISO.
Tells you what I know. He showed up over the weekend. I've never heard of him.
Yeah.
That is not a real person. They have creative players just showing up in MLB now, and they have more home runs than Oscar Gonzalez, and that's tilting.
It is. Duran is also a power prospect. He's their 4th overall graded prospect. I just pulled it up, 71st overall in baseball. So a little bit of pop, 60 grade raw power, game power graded 45. He had 7 home runs so far in AA, promoted directly from AA. So, maybe a player to keep an eye out for at min price if you're full stacking this Rangers lineup, and if he's hitting, 7th, 8th, somewhere around there.
All right. And then on the Cleveland Guardians side, by the way, multiple people forgetting Sarah Marshall. Well done. Welcome to the family. You've done it. You've done it, including Elizabeth Romero. Always fun to see a new lady that I haven't seen before in the chat. We love having you here. Hit the like button for Elizabeth. I mean, that's great stuff. Starting it off right here.
London.
Can you take the cool out of my leg? I have a really bad thing with blood. Gone. Cleveland Guardians. I like stacking up this team today. It's going to be a team that looks like is going to have a little bit of slight negative leverage. But I mean, as I said before, just guys who are making contact and getting the ball in play and giving you opportunities to make money. Oscar Gonzalez, Naylor, Kwan, and of course, Ramirez, your boy, Andres Jimenez, starting to smash 532 expected slugging, has speed. Everybody on this team is fast except for Josh Naylor. Him running to first looks like a mistake when you watch the rest of the Cleveland team fly throughout the entire game. It's really funny. That's just the small things you get from watching a lot of baseball, plus they're a division rival, and it always makes me laugh. But Josh Naylor.
They should really take a moment with somebody's iPhone before a game one day and reenact that scene from Major League where Willie Mays Hayes comes in his pajamas and beats the guys barefoot. They should have Naylor and somebody else and just have.
That'd be great. Naylor, not it. No. Everybody else is super fast on that baseball
somebody
team.
To do that. Yeah, or Rosario. Yeah.
No. Anything that really stands out that we haven't talked about that you really want to get to?
No, I flew through some of the hitters before when we were talking about it. I do agree. I really like this team. Also something to keep an eye on too. If the weather, if there's less concern about whether maybe Gray's ownership at that 6,600 on DK goes up, if you see Gray land in that 25 to 30% range, it would actually increase my interest in the Guardians bats because I would want to attack that much of the field's of leverage there. With fairly under-owned, very capable bats against a right-handed pitcher who, the field wouldn't necessarily be on. So I think it would be a nice leverage position if that Gray ownership goes up.
Old as ancient skies, I've had these wandering eyes, and it took me by surprise, and I put them inside of you.
That song is so good.
Inside of you.
As like parody movie songs go or jokey movie song, like that is such a well-written, good joke of a song. Like, Die. I want to see that. I actually want to see the Dracula music.
I would absolutely buy a ticket immediately, especially because I'm a How I Met Your Mother stan. Like Jason Segel specifically, I would watch him do anything. Jordan Klein. I'm trying to cheer myself up here today, little man. You're not helping. You're not helping the cause. You're just giving me thumbs down. You're saying don't sing. You're saying whatever. You know what I will say, though, that you better agree with? MLB Strategy Show, all caps, one word. The best way to take advantage of all the tools we have here at Awesemo Plus. If you want all the tools and content, and you want to check it out for a month at a very decreased number, we're talking 50% off of your first month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. MLB Strategy Show. That's all caps, one word, not just MLB that you know and love that has the top pitchers tool, the top stacks tool, and now the top batters tool, which is awesome. Sean Zahn is a beast. If you haven't seen his screenshots of MLB bets, if you haven't seen him at the top of every leaderboard on DK this entire year, well, you probably haven't been playing DFS because he just wins absolutely everything. And now he's put together that tool and I use it all the damn time. It's such a great feature, such a great addition. As lineups start coming out, comparing positional players, seeing who you want as your one-offs, that's great stuff. But then we have NBA Finals is still going strong. NASCAR, you name it, we got content for it if it's got a DFS contest in the industry for it. So stop guessing, start winning. Join us here at Awesemo Plus, but do it with MLB Strategy Show. Very cool stuff. All right, third game. Oh, Terry and I making good time. We might do an hour show.
I ain't along.
I kind of want to extend it because Jordan's looking. What is he doing? Oh yeah, that's a stare down. That's a don't do that. That's a don't do that.
I'm surprised he's not ending the show now.
Yeah, Seattle plus 138 at Houston, 8.5 total runs. This is a fun slate simply because you have 5 games with over 8.5 totals. And then you have the Mets in San Diego, which we'll get to. Of course, that'll be the one that has the stack that goes nuts because that's how this works.
Naturally.
But looking at the pitchers here, it is a pitch fest. Robbie Ray, Christian Javier. Pick one today for DraftKings and FanDuel purposes.
Oof, probably going to be inclined to go to Christian Javier.
Same, which is weird.
Yeah.
But here we are.
10.5% owned for 9,000 on FanDuel. I'm paying less. I'm getting him cheaper, and he's been pitching better. And he's got the better matchup. So, to me, that's actually somewhat straightforward. Like, I just don't want to tangle with the Astros against a lefty, especially a lefty that I don't fully trust. Good as Robbie Ray is, I trusted him most of last year, and he was good. I've never trusted him outside of last year, and I don't know why I continue to when he's been, somewhat up and down, sitting at a 4.93 ERA this season, 27.1% strikeouts, which is down 5 points from last year. The walks are up, the xFIP is up, the WHIP is up, the swinging strikes are also slightly up, but the CSW is down. There's a lot to still be concerned about with Robbie Ray here and going up against the Astros that I tend to not tangle with most pitchers because they don't strike out. They hit everybody for power. They hit everybody for sequencing. I just don't love the spot for Ray with that much of the field on him at that price. I'll have some. I'm not saying full fade, but between the two, it's easily Christian Javier.
All right. Well, yeah, I think it was pretty straightforward, but the field doesn't think that. Robbie Ray, more name recognition. I don't know. I feel like the field's gotten sharper, so it's surprising to see this morning that Robbie Ray's garnering about the exact same ownership on DraftKings as Christian Javier. So I'm with you. I'm going to be more in the Javier side. Doesn't mean I'm not going to play Robbie Ray. This is a 5-game slate more than likely, maybe 4. God, it's just pay attention to weather. Thank you, God, to News God. We'll have that covered for you. But yeah, Robbie Ray giving up some more hard contact and going back to what he was doing in Arizona. I will also say the one thing that he did last year that really impressed me was his limiting of walks. I just remember watching a lot of Dodger Arizona games out here on the West Coast where it felt like he would either be striking out 12 or he would be walking the entire farm and just giving freebies left and right. 8.8% walk rate doesn't seem like it's that extreme, but that is different than 6.7% from last year. He was up around a 17.9% number in 2020. I'm just saying, if those start trickling up, those are the reasons you kind of want to start stacking up against Robbie Ray on the regular.
Yeah. And it's really interesting because like you said, he's been a guy who for his career has walked the world. His career walk rate is still 10.2, even with the ridiculous improvement last year and a number that is still below this 8.8 is below his walk rate from every other year of his career, except as a rookie in a small sample when he was at 8.1. Since then, he's been over 10 for the most part. He was over 13 for the 3 years before 2018, 2019, 2020. That averaged out to like 13%. And then he cut that in half at 6.7 last year. Changed organizations. Now something's different. Were they putting something on his hand in Toronto? Was it something about the pitching coach? Was it just the mechanics of where he was pitching in that league? Who knows? Right. But there's something clear there. There's clearly a difference in this pitcher, and he's back to being that guy that I just don't fully trust. And if we're looking at the opponents, just since they're on the lines right next to one another against righties, Seattle against righties, Christian Javier's opponent, a 143 team ISO, 20.3% strikeout rate, which is very good, creating runs 16% better than average, which is very good, but only a 2.59% home run rate. So the power hasn't been there. 22nd in baseball by ISO, 23rd by home run rate against righties. Houston, on the other side, 179 team ISO, 5th best in baseball at 3.68% home run rate, 4th best in baseball against righties. And they create runs 1% more than Seattle does at a 117 WRC plus, ranking 6th. And they strike out less at 19.5%, ranking 4th. Neither team is a great matchup for a right-handed pitcher, but the better matchup is to face the Mariners.
Yeah, so we have what's called the new stack score that's going to be on the far right side of the column on the MLB top stacks tool. And even a better way to encapsulate what you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis with some of these stacks. For DraftKings specifically, where I'm going to be playing more today, I know Terry being the FanDuel guy, we kind of level each other out in a nice way. It's good. But the top stack percentage, or the stack scores, is basically multiplied. You take top stack percentage squared times the top value that you're looking at. And then you're going to take that all up to the third power. That's a fancy way of saying that we can show you a little bit better and easier by just sorting that far right side of the screen, exactly what you're dealing with on a team by team basis. And you're looking at Seattle with dead last or dead last in that category in the stack score, below the Mets and below San Diego with just their 7.5 totals. So I am with you. I think that the Seattle team might be just a difficult one to land on. Christian Javier, just so good in the early going of this season.
Yeah, he's been dynamite this year. 31.5% strikeout rate. He walks a few too many guys. You know, it's weird to complain about Robbie Ray's walk rate and then not point out that Javier,
but we have a track record for him, and Christian Javier. Exactly. You know, this is something. This is his third MLB season, and he's been around a 10.7% guy. But the K's have just continually inclined. He got the starting spot. He's just kind of ran with it here. 2021 till now, 30.7%, 31.5%. That's drastically higher than 26%, 27% you're looking at for Ray as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very, it's a very big difference between just what these guys are doing. When you strike out those additional hitters, you can get away from those free passes and they don't hurt you as much. And you can see that in the peripheral numbers to a degree. So yeah, I think the kid's pitching really, really well. And I like the fact that he comes in less expensive than Ray on both sites. Just makes it easy to get to. I love the fact that he's only 10% owned on FanDuel. That's definitely going to be a spot for me, that little pocket of ownership on Javier here. If it doesn't go well, it doesn't go well, but I think I can load up on that. Maybe I take a few hedge stacks of Mariners on the other side, but it won't be very many. And this is a team I do like to stack in, certain situations. They're typically fairly cheap. There's a lot of bats that I like. I just think I'm going to be overweight to the Javier shares.
Yeah, I'm with you. Houston on the other side. This is going to be where we're really looking at getting to some bats, I think, against Robbie Ray. Anybody that doesn't like Yordan Alvarez at this point in time with his 65.2% hard hit percentage? Yes. 65.2% hard hit percentage. You're a crazy person. He's incredible. That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
That's quite good. He's ahead of Judge now.
I know. 801 slugging. 801 expected slugging for Yordan Alvarez now.
It's bananas.
369 expected batting average. I mean, this guy was always going to be special, but this is like elite kind of special shit.
Yeah, and now he's on a ridiculously good team-friendly contract for the next, 6 years, 8 years?
Yeah, they need to fix that. That's
such a good deal.
It is unfair to Yordan Alvarez and his family that he can't make more than he's going to make the next 2 years.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's probably very, very helpful and a big, thing for his family that he just got 160 whatever million it is.
It's too good.
But yeah, no, I mean, I'm glad for the kid that he's getting paid, but I think he probably is worth more in the long term.
Yes, he is.
So good job by the team. Maybe not the greatest job in the world by his agent, but it does depend on, the priorities. When you come from where he comes from, certain times there's just, hey, if I get money now, it is life-changing for 150 people back home. So
yeah, I will leave Awesemo.com to be Yordan Alvarez's agent. I will do that. No offense. I think everybody will understand.
Likewise.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, he is fantastic. Tremendous power hitter, not getting enough ownership in the middle of the lineup on either site. 4,200 is super affordable on FanDuel, 5,700 arguably cheap on DK for him. Everybody in this lineup, pretty much top to bottom, except for Martin Maldonado, can be in my lineup pretty much any day. And that includes the guys who swap in, like Alemis Diaz. He pops up with 3-position eligibility at 2,000, 2,200 all the time in this lineup. So guys like that, I'm happy to work in and out, but I'm really targeting the Jose series of the world. When he gets into the lineup for cheap, I really like his power and speed combo. Kyle Tucker obviously is in there every day. Everybody knows about him, but he remains cheap. He remains under-owned. Jeremy Pena toward the bottom of the lineup. My guy, Yuli Gurriel, in the middle of the lineup, still very under-owned on basically every slate. Very inexpensive. He's up to 225, 268, 360. Still not the hitter he was last year, but it's coming, I believe, still in that bat. So a lot to like about that Astros lineup. You are tangling with Robbie Ray. You're hoping you get the version that walks the world and they can string some runs together.
Yeah, this Mauricio Dubois character. Do not roster him. I do not like rostering him ever. Yesterday, he was like 25% because he was cheap. He was like a $2,300 savings guy that was just the one-off batting second for Houston. And oh boy, it was fun to hit eject on that one. Wasn't fun to have Kevin Gausman. I will say that though. That's the push and pull with MLB DFS. For damn sure.
A couple shares of Gausman.
Oh, well,
I got away from that one.
Good for you. I found it, even with my Twins. I mean, I had some Larnach. I talked myself into at least getting a little bit of Larnach. He ended up being in my best lineup on DK. That kind of salvaged my day. Ended up losing a little bit. But if it weren't for Trevor Larnach and that massive, I mean, the guy's pretty good. He might actually be good.
Yeah, no, decent bet. I tell you, somebody who, maybe is okay to, maybe we don't want to overlook Dubon completely if he's in the lineup here.
Okay.
I'm just looking at the speed profile. He's got a little.
Yeah, I know.
He's got a very good hit tool. He was a fairly well-regarded prospect in terms of those two tools specifically. Hit 16 home runs in AAA for Milwaukee in 2019.
6.4% strikeout rate. That's absurd. But
if you're putting the ball in play with speed, I mean,
Slappy McSlappersons, 34.3% hard hit percentage, 2 bombs with San Francisco. I mean, he's whatever.
Yeah, he's a minor play, but I'm just saying, like, if he is hitting second or something like that again, you don't want to cross him off this.
He's got a career 3.6% barrel percentage.
Is that good, Eric?
It's not good. I'm explaining to the people that is bad.
Yeah, no, I know. That's why. Is that good?
Yeah, I was doing like the undersell for comedy purposes, but here we are. We are going to Toronto. We are going to Kansas City. Ross Stripling, 21% K percentage, the former Dodger turned Blue Jay. Your guy, Kansas City. What?
There's a lot of those former Dodgers turned Blue Jays, it feels like.
There are more than one. I mean, you had Hyunjin Ryu, him. Who else? There's somebody else in the last 2 or 3 years. I don't know. All I know is Jose Barrios continues to suck in Toronto, and it makes me happy. Go Twins. Here we go. But we've got Daniel Lynch on the other side. And I will say, I've rostered Daniel Lynch more than the average bear. You know how it's gone? Not well, Terry McBride. Not well is how it's gone. Talk to me about pitching in this one.
No. I mean,
you have to. I mean,
that's kind of what I would just write across both of these pitchers. Do you want to get to any Ross Stripling here?
I will have some Ross Stripling just for the shits and giggles. I'll have some Daniel Lynch. Again, we're talking about 9 total pitchers. Like, there are 10 total pitchers.
Fewer by the time we get to game time too.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I'm looking at, possibly 8 total pitchers that you're looking at on a slate, on like a 4-game slate, depending on the Cleveland situation, and definitely Arizona, Cincinnati. I've got off my board right now, so I'm kind of looking at things in a vacuum of 5 games, 10 total pitchers, 9 other is what I was getting at. You have 9 other pitchers, and you can roster guys just hoping other guys fail, and it actually makes sense. I think when you get on these massive 12, 13 game slates, it's really hard to get away from upside plays and guys with K percentages and guys that really grade out well, because people you need those upside performances. Today, 15 could be good enough. 20 could be good enough. There aren't any aces on the board today. Christian Javier is the closest thing we have to that, and he's phenomenal. Don't get me wrong, but there's blemishes for him. There's blemishes for Robbie Ray. My boy, Hunter Green, I don't think is going to play. So, like, I have to start considering some of these guys. And Daniel Lynch, I've constantly, just because of his pedigree, because he's supposed to be the it guy for Kansas City going forward. First round pick, 2018, had some decent stuff, mid-90s fastball that was moving around, but now he's just getting smashed around the field constantly. Only a 19.6% K percentage, but a 4.47 expected ERA is a lot better than you would expect for him in this kind of a range at this price. So I'm going to have some Daniel Lynch. I'm going to have some Ross Stripling for sure. I think he's the much better play at 5,800 for 500 cheaper, but we kind of know who Ross Stripling is at this point as well. It's not appealing. Neither of these guys are appealing, but so many ways that this could actually work out for you today, as opposed to a 12-game slate.
I mean,
you're like, yeah, but no.
I can see getting to some shares of Stripling at 5,800 on DK, right? That price just makes things work, and nobody's really doing it, which I'm kind of surprised the ownership is only at 3%. With John Gray on the board at 66, I think that's a better spot, even going up against Cleveland, which is a worse opponent. I just think there's a little bit more to believe in with John Gray there. There's more strikeout upside, probably, even though they don't strike out much, just on talent in the pitcher himself. I think there's more strikeout upside. This Royals team also doesn't strike out very much against righties. Ross Stripling, 21% strikeout rate this year. He was a 21% over 101 and a third in 19 starts last year. We kind of know what we're getting with Stripling. I guess he's okay for the 5,800. You can't not go there, right? That does make sense, especially with nobody on it. So I will begrudgingly give that to the field. 6,300 on FanDuel. I don't think I want any part of it. Daniel Lynch on the other side. I haven't really seen it at this level yet. And for a kid who's not striking anybody out, he's walking way too many. He's giving up a lot of hard hit, 43.8% hard hit. It's only translated into a 2.51% home run rate. But even with the low home run rate, his ERA is at 4.81. His xFIP is at 4.96. The swinging strikes are nice, but he's putting way too many guys on base, giving up too many opportunities to a team that is just loaded with talent like the Blue Jays, even though they haven't really come through all year long. I don't love that spot for Daniel Lynch for a lefty here. Toronto, 18.9% strikeout rate against lefties is 8th best in baseball. Creating runs 21% better than average against lefties this year. 4th best in baseball, despite the lack of power. So I think I'm much more inclined to roster Blue Jays bats, but that's exactly what the field is doing as well.
All right. You're going to paint yourself in blue and black and especially gray. That's what you're getting at. All of the colors are very, very meaningful for Terry McBride. Get that one, chat. There you go. That was kind of an easy one, but regardless, let's talk Blue Jays bats.
Color.
Yeah, something symphonic. Yeah, yesterday. I just want to be someone to believe.
Neurotic. Yes.
To believe.
Neurotic yesterday? Symphonic yesterday?
Maybe. Mr. Jones.
That's Mr. Jones.
Yeah, there it is. 14.1% top stack or stack score. I got to stop saying top stack score because it's just the stack score. Toronto, highest on the board. There's negative leverage, 19.6% ownership share. They're the most popular, but a top stack percentage of 17.3%. I'm just saying, I think pretty much everybody should have some shares in 20 max and 150. You should have some Toronto Blue Jays in your life. There's too few spots to go to. This will be one of the most popular, if not the most popular, according to our top stacks rule. But how do you overlook anything in this lineup? I don't know. I'm going to have lots of them against Daniel Lynch, the corpse of a once touted prospect for sure. How are you feeling about Toronto?
Yeah, definitely. I want to be loading up. Everybody in the top 4 is going to be on over 20% on both sites, probably aggressively over for some of those hitters. But that's the Springer, Bichette, Vladdy, Teoscar corner of this lineup. If you drop below that, everybody drops into the 12% range, the 13s, the low single digits, mid single digits, and you still get good hitters. Alejandro Kirk obviously has been hitting very well, 307, 389, 471, creating runs 47% better than average with 5 home runs in 162 plate appearances. You get Matty Chapman down there. He's still got a little bit of life in that bat for power anyway. Santiago Espinal has been frisky. Lourdes Gurriel and Bradley Zimmer can hit home runs, can steal bases, not all that reliably or all that regularly, especially Mr. Zimmer, who's sitting at a 19 WRC plus over 62 plate appearances. But there is a little bit of life in the bottom of the lineup where nobody really rosters this team. And a guy like Zimmer cost the dead minimum on FanDuel, 2,300 on DK. Lourdes Gurriel, only 2,800 on DK, 27 on FanDuel. I think I'll be grabbing pieces of the bottom end, stringing them together with pieces of the top and trying to at least differentiate some of these Blue Jays stacks. But I will definitely be aggressively stacking this team today.
Yeah, go the double catcher route on FanDuel, something like that. That can maybe be more serviceable where people kind of prevent that for sure. Hand building. They're not throwing in Jansen and Kirk. That's not a thing that people do, even though they lead the team in batting average, which is absurd. You shouldn't have 2 catchers leading your team in batting average, but here we are. Welcome to the Toronto Blue Jays version 2022. Kansas City Royals on the other side. This team, I don't really ever stack up. You can meet Melendez or Sweet Melendez, whichever way you want to go with that song. Emmanuel Rivera, 573 expected slugging, but there's just disappointment everywhere at the bottom end of this. I mean, or at the top end of the lineup for sure. Everybody but Benintendi kind of just been complete non-factors for the past month. Kansas City against Ross Stripling. Ross Stripling kind of just avoiding hard contact, been a good real life pitcher, 21% K percentages and all that great. But as I said before, I have more interest in the Ross Stripling side than trying to go overweight in Kansas City. What are you planning to do here with the Royals?
Yeah, I think I've kind of come around to that side. Just again, given that lack of ownership on Stripling at that cheap price, I think that's probably the spot to make your stand. I would hedge with some Royal stacks, but I'm not that interested in this team. I don't get to them all that often. When I am going to them, it would be largely around the obvious names like Whit Merrifield, Andrew Benintendi, Bobby Witt, Sal Perez, MJ Melendez. The bottom end of this lineup really falls off a lot. Doesn't really interest me all that much. You can maybe grab some Hunter Dozier as like your end point in there. Even Emmanuel Rivera, I don't really believe in. Michael Taylor, Nicky Lopez in the projected, not really digging down deep toward the bottom. There's not a lot of weight on this team. Like even Sal Perez, 8.4% owned for 4,900 on DK. That's pretty cheap for Sal Perez on a site where you need a catcher. He's got 8 home runs, a 205 ISO. He is 20% worse than average this year creating runs. He's sitting at a 199, 240, 404 triple slash. That's not Sal Perez, not the one we know and love anyway, but I think we've seen all we need over the course of his career to know that we can roster him when he's that cheap and that low owned. So I maybe grab some Sal one-offs. I maybe stack some hedge stacks against any Stripling ownership shares that I create, but it's minor interest in the Royals.
All right. Anything else from this game for you?
No, I think we covered it top to bottom pretty much.
I think we did too. We're also going to cover PrizePicks because they're the sponsor of the MLB Strategy Show. If you want to check out a really cool site, really fun to play props day in, day out, I've had a lot of success over there. I'm going to continue to do videos for them over on the YouTube channel. Well, it's for us. They're not giving me anything, but I'm looking at doing all these videos on the MLB Awesemo channel, on the Awesemo Odds channel. I'm putting together as much as I can for you guys, trying to help you win money over at PrizePicks. Sign up using promo code Awesemo. Get $100 free first match deposit bonus today. You're putting 2, 3, 4, or 5 player parlays together. We're putting them all in different sports. You have MLB, NHL, NBA, tennis, MMA, NFL futures. If you feel so inclined to bet some passing yard futures on June 6th, 2022, you could do such things over on PrizePicks. Hell, you could play High-Lie. Look at that. I'm learning to speak with the help of Terry McBride. El Barba, negative 0.5 fantasy score. I have no idea what that means, but if you do, there's probably an edge to be had here because some of these markets, there's no way that these are efficient. No way. I don't believe it. But MLB, that is where we're kind of more inclined to go to. And, you know, I think if you do see that first pitch happen and there's some weather concerns and they start Madison Bumgarner, Hunter Green, take the under their strikeouts prop and, run to the bank with it because there's a very good chance of an in-game delay. But they have to start. They have to get that game underway for that to end up cashing for you. And any kind of a delay, you're going to win that bet. So just wanted to throw that one out from the get-go. A little bit of game theory involved in the old prop market. That doesn't happen all the time. But download the app over at the App Store or head to prizepicks.com. Take advantage of everything we have here at Awesemo to help you win money. Plus, when you sign up, not just the $100 first match deposit bonus, but you'll get 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum just by signing up and checking out their product. Again, I have videos that I'm going to be putting up trying to help you make money. We were something like 17 of 18 on my first 4 days or 5 days of doing those videos. I went out for 3 the other night. So, sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit, but Awesemo Plus Platinum, never a bad thing. Going to always give you the edge. So take advantage of that offer. Stop guessing, start winning. Join Awesemo Plus, but do it through our sponsor PrizePicks. Thank you so much for them sponsoring this lovely little MLB strategy show that we have going this morning. El Barba. I was going to say El Barba is beautiful stuff.
Did you see that picture I just sent you?
High-Lie. Yeah, no, he's out of his mind. He's got the full Dallas Keuchel. Yeah, he's got the full Dallas Keuchel stash going.
Yeah, well, unless I'm mistaken, El Barba means the beard in Spanish. So I guess we should have known. But
it doesn't mean the barber?
That is hardcore.
That's good stuff.
No, that's probably like El Barbador or something like that. I'm not really sure how to say barber, to be quite honest with you.
Just say Humberto Castellanos for me.
Humberto Castellanos.
So never going to get old. Boston Red Sox, 4.4 implied runs at the Halos, 4.6. And Jordan Klein, shout out your baseball team playing like absolute trash. They are not very good here at the moment. And it's weird because they have 2 of the best, most generational players you could ever have on one team. That just tells you baseball is a team game and it can't be won with 2 guys. But we continue on. The Red Sox, Michael Wacha on the mound. Oh boy, I have some Angels interest. How do you feel about Michael Wacha starting off here?
I feel like he's a pretty good target for some bats on this slate. That's for sure.
Is.
Pitcher I don't tend to get to when he's on the mound, regardless of price or popularity. I don't really see that much use for him here. 16.8% strikeouts on the year, 4.39 xFIP. Much more of a target. Still only a 2.48% home run rate, only yielding 32.5% hard hit, only a 5.8% barrel rate. So there are arguments to be made that maybe he can keep this offense down while not necessarily racking up a ton of strikeouts or distinguishing himself for fantasy purposes. I'm still probably leaning more toward the Angel side of things, but you do have a depleted version of this lineup. They are just kind of a 2-player lineup, maybe a 3-player if Jared Walsh is in there. You can argue Max Stassi. And then what are we talking? Brandon Marsh, maybe Matt Duffy, maybe. It's not the greatest version of this lineup, not the greatest stack in the world. We're back to this version of the Angels. Trout in the longest extended slump of his career, or at least that I can remember. Ohtani has not been as good with the bat this year as he has been on the mound. So there's a lot of problems going on with this Angels team. I just don't believe in the Waka side of the equation for for pitching shares. So I'll probably go 0 out on the Wakas. 8.9% owned. Are you getting there at 7,400 on DK? I see no need to get to him on FanDuel.
No, when you have Stripling coming in lower owned, when you have Christian Javier and John Gray, I'll still get to a little bit of. But I'm looking at that late night hammer. And if nobody is going to click on Carlos Carrasco, he's going to be like 12% owned. That's just such a massive spot to be overweight to on DK. So 9,300, he's going to be probably my biggest pitching stand coming up later. I'm going to try to do the best I can to write off certain guys, just because otherwise you're going to be spread thin, and you can literally, I find it impossible that I won't get to shares of every single pitcher who's actually available today in 150 lineups, but he will probably be the lowest other than maybe Daniel Lynch. And even Daniel Lynch, I have reasons and I'm holding to the good times, which have never actually really happened, that I'm trying to make him a thing. So Michael Walker, we know who, he is who we thought he is, because that's who he is.
What do you think the strikeout ceiling is? Like, if Waka gives us 6 clean innings, what do you think the strikeout ceiling is?
6?
Because this team does strike out a lot.
7, 6 or 7, maybe
6 or 7. I mean, that might be in play then.
Yeah,
that's the thing. This team does strike out at an aggressive rate.
16.8% with the walks, and he's been limiting some hard contact, but it doesn't matter when it's Shohei, Jared Walsh, and of course Mike Trout. Joe Adell, my boy, is back in my life.
And it's essentially the same play as that Ross Stripling one for a higher price and more ownership, right?
Yeah.
Like I outside of the increased strikeouts within the Angels lineup comparatively, it's essentially the same play, because they're both, him and Stripling are both, 15, 16% strikeout guys who give up a little bit of runs and walk some guys. So it's just weird. I do think there's maybe sneaky strikeout upside there, but it seems like that 8.9% at that price probably covers any upside that is there. So I'm still not interested.
Yeah. Well, then there we go. Noah Syndergaard on the other side, 15.9% K percentage. Not your grandpa's Noah Syndergaard. We'll put it that way. Gonna have some Boston interest too, that's for sure. Guy that I've just been stacking up against routinely with his 454 expected slugging. Yeah, he's limiting walks, but he's literally doing nothing well right now. Noah Syndergaard. He'll be on the board just because, but don't really feel good about it.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that. I might have a few shares around the edge of 7,900 on FanDuel, 7,000 on DK. I can see how you get out to, in a crunch of like 1,000 lineups, you come up with around the field's ownership. I would probably be looking to thin slice that in a sort where I'm getting to, maybe half the field on both sites. It feels a little bit better. Just not a lot there for Syndergaard. He's just kind of pitching clean in his successful starts. 4.14 xFIP, a 4.02 ERA. Those are both fine. There's nothing wrong with either of those numbers. He's only walking 5.3%. A 1-2-1 whip tells me there's a little bit of BABIP bad luck in there. I haven't looked at it, but I would guess that's it. 15.9% strikeouts, though. There's just nothing there for strikeouts. 37.1% hard hit yielded with an 8.3% barrel rate, a 7.7 degree average launch angle, and a 2.35% home run rate. He's historically been very good limiting power, keeping the ball in the yard, even when he's not striking guys out. Maybe we get a little bit of that here. It is suppressing the home run marks for the Red Sox on the other side, but I just think with sequencing, with so much bat on ball available, that this Red Sox team will overcome Syndergaard here. So I'd be looking to roster Red Sox. They look pretty under-owned to me. Rafael Devers drawing a ton of popularity. Everybody else on the team in single digits on FanDuel. Only Jarren Duran also in double digits with Devers on the DK slate, because he's only 2,600 projected to lead off here. So I think there's a lot of easy ways to string together Red Sox here.
Yep, Duran, fire it up. And then the Angels side, hi, Ohtani, hi, Trout, coming in very, very popular per usual.
If Ezekiel Duran plays, you could go Jarren Duran, Ezekiel Duran.
Wow.
Duran. And
wow. Woo. The actual Duran. These are the reasons that Terry McBride is like, I mean, come on. That's too good. That's too good
right there.
Matt Duffy leading off. It's almost like we predicted the future. Do you remember when I said, why isn't Matt Duffy leading off? This is absurd. Beating the drum for it. Do you think Joe Madden watches our streams?
Absolutely. Where else is he going to get good DFS advice?
Yeah, or any advice because he's terrible at managing. But Matt Duffy finally started leading off, and they're finally understanding how lineup order should work. So that was great. But Duffy will probably be leading off, Trout and Ohtani behind him there. That's going to have some more utility. But then on the bottom half, my God, he's back. Joe Adell. I have to roster so much of him today. It's painful to say because it hasn't really been fruitful all the time. I mean, he wasn't my 4K winner that I had earlier this year when he went bomb ski on Alicia Hernandez, and that felt good. But Joe Adell, 2,500 on DK. I'm going back to the well. It's just going to be bad for me. I already know ahead of time. But what sticks out to you from the Angels side?
Yeah, I love the call out for Adell there, getting a nice little number in my home run model. I'll go you one better. He's the dead minimum price on FanDuel and still only drawing.
Oh my God, I'm playing FanDuel today.
So, yeah, that's a smash spot. That's a spot I might even grab some one-offs because it will make a lot of other things work. I very, very much believe in the power. When the kid gets bat on ball, the ball travels. 40.9% hard hit, 15.9% barrels in his 70 plate appearances, 3 home runs so far, only a 174 ISO, creating runs worse than average. I do not care when he checks in at that price. So he would be on that list. I kind of wish he was hitting 6th. Like if it went, the top end, then Stassi, Adell, Marsh, or even Stassi, Marsh, Adell, with Adell hitting 7th. I just like those 2 spots better in the lineup than I like 8th. 8th is a little bit of a no man's land, but I'll take it, and I'll just hope that he's hitting higher in the confirmed lineup. Marsh is fine. Stassi is a good power hitting catcher that you can roster on both sites. And then the names at the top of the lineup are all obvious, expensive, and pretty popular. Duffy is somewhat interesting given the on-base acumen just for correlated scoring purposes. Like if you're rostering Trout and Ohtani and Walsh and you're saying, 3-man this and find a one-off, you might as well just stick Duffy on top. He's got 3 position on FanDuel, 2 position on DK. He's very cheap and he's got an excellent on-base and correlates directly with those guys. Otherwise, individually, he's not very interesting.
All right. Well, our friends showed up. I don't know. This is like a long shot, the likes of Rich Strike that we had at the Kentucky Derby. The cheapest one-time 18-plus dates, ! Nobody had that. Nobody had it. It was a massive long shot. That ended up being the horse that came through. And my God, it's disappointing. I was hoping, Tinder, Jordan Klein smashing the game yesterday, cashed that plus 1,800 ticket for money. It was beautiful. But here we go. The cheapest one-time 18-plus dates. I don't know how you land on that. It was a late entry to the pool, and somehow it got there. But let's go one more game.
Maybe if you're going like your 2 favorites up top, and then you put that one as like the long shot to bolster your trifecta or something like that.
Yeah, no, you have to box that one in. It's impossible to win
you're
because
boxing
you're just
that
not
as a trifecta with 18 plus and boys and girls or something like that.
Yeah. Impossible. Yeah, I told you. Yeah, it's not on me, Mikkel. It's not on me. Let's talk Mets 3.7 plus. Oh, and hit the like button because that's how the porn bot game goes. Nobody ends up winning. Hit the like button for good karma. Better luck next time. That's what I'm saying, Jordan Klein. You don't like me today. It's fine. New York Mets, 3.7 implied runs at San Diego Padres, 3.8. Carlos Carrasco, Blake Snell. I want all the pitching in this game, but it looks like the field wants all the Blake Snell on planet Earth at 48.7% ownership. 8,100 is an egregious tag for his strikeout rate. He's been giving us some hard contact, and this Mets offense can be potent, but give me all the Carlos Carrasco in all the land at his current ownership. Most positively leveraged pitcher. Yes, just a 21.4% K percentage, but I do not believe in this Padres lineup. They are no good. Talk to me about pitching here.
Yeah, you know, I've been beating that drum all season long that this Padres team is just not that good. And it holds up in the numbers against right-handed pitching this year. A 125 team ISO, that's 27th in baseball. Creating runs 7% worse than average. That's 23rd, 22.5% strikeout rate against righties. That sounds low, but it's actually 18th in baseball. Just strikeouts are generally down this year, especially against righties here. 1.74% home run rates. It's 29th in baseball. This is not a good team. This is not a team that sequences. It's not a team that hits for very much power outside of a guy named Manny Machado in the middle of the lineup. Even he's just sitting at 9 home runs. 217 ISO is very good. Nobody in double-digit home runs on the team. Only Manny over a 200 ISO on the team. Only Manny over a 155 ISO on the team. Not a lot to speak of in terms of the offense here. Carrasco, I do agree. 21.4% strikeout rate. I wish it was higher, but in this situation at 8,500, less than 10% owned, 9,300, less than 12% owned on DK. I think it's a great spot going up against this lineup. I think he should be more popular here. I actually expected this ownership to be somewhat flipped, where not necessarily directly flipped, but I was expecting Carrasco to be high teens, 20% range on both sites, and he's just not. And I was expecting Snell to be a little bit less popular. So yeah, that's a spot where I'm going to be loading up on Carrasco shares. Put him together with whoever the hell else I said I was. Javier. Carrasco and Javier are my two prime pitching spots today, and I'm happy to get over the field on both of them on both sides.
Yeah, Pete Alonso high up against Blake Snell, one-time dealer. That'll be a one-off I go to quite a bit. Whenever you get a guy like Pete Alonso with his 612 expected slugging, a zillion home runs, going up against the likes of the most popular pitcher on the board, that always seems like fun. You also get JD Davis, Starling Marte every single day, ending in Y. You can roster him. Those are kind of the main guys. And of course, Francisco Lindor at the position. So some definite utility in landing on the Mets against Snell with this offense. I just kind of know that it's not going to go well all that often, but Pete Alonso, I'm definitely on board with. What sticks out to you from the Mets?
Yeah, nice home run mark on Pete Alonso there. I like him at 4,200 on FanDuel, less than 3% owned, 5,200 on DK, same ownership situation. The entire team, top to bottom, on both sites, owned under 3%. That's pretty targetable for me. This is a good offense. We went after Blake Snell. I forget if it was you and me or me and somebody else on the show.
We went after Blake Snell.
It was with the Cards, right?
Cardinals. It didn't go. He had the bases loaded.
Yep.
Gave up 2 runs in the first, and he survived the rest of the game. It was absurd.
Yep.
Thought we were going to just smash.
Yeah. So Snell, 30% strikeout rate, 15 innings in 3 starts, still walking 13.3%, 4.25 xFIP, a 4.80 ERA. The swinging strikes are there, 14% swinging strike rate. He could leave some holes in this Mets lineup, but I think there's enough there, 14.7% barrel rate specifically. Throw a Pete Alonso at him, throw a JD Davis at him with the barrel rates that these guys can produce in the middle of the lineup. Back that up with guys like Nimmo and Marte, who are just going to be on base for correlated scoring. Don't forget about Francisco Lindor, the lurking star. I mean, this guy was a superstar 2 years ago, and now he's sitting 4,100, 5,100, and 2% owned on both sites, going up against a pitcher he's good, but I mean, he's not. He creates a lot of opportunities. He gets himself in trouble, and he needs to get out of it with the strikeouts. If the strikeouts aren't there for him, there is going to be some damage done against Blake Snell here. So I would be rostering Mets. I would be definitely undercutting the Snell shares on both sites. I do think there's upside. There's a clear path for Snell to be the top scoring pitcher of the day. It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if he was. I believe in the 30% strikeout rate. I think the walks will come down over time. The barrels will come down over time. He is a very talented guy, but just with 40+% of the field on FanDuel, pushing 50% ownership on DK, I can get away from that with other spots that I like as much or better in terms of the pitcher talent and the matchup.
Tinder overpriced shit. Try us 18+. Oh, Tinder overpriced shit. Somebody had that ticket. Who had it? Say bingo. Say bingo. You had to have it.
Somebody out there had that.
Guys,
especially after Tinder hit the board yesterday.
I had Tinder underpriced shit. I clicked the wrong button. I didn't get it. But anyway, last spot, San Diego. I have so little interest here. It's ridiculous. What stands out to you from San Diego, if anything?
Manny Machado.
There you go. That was fun.
Yeah.
See,
that really is it.
That was the analysis. Yeah, no, I'm so here with that. Maybe a Nola just at a catcher position on DK, but that's like legitimately it.
Yeah, I actually have Alfaro in the projected.
But, Alfaro, yeah.
Nola, I like the Nola bet. Alfaro, I tell you could get away with some Alfaro shares if you're looking for cheap power at a catcher position as well. Like if you're going to roster Nola, there's no real reason not to roster Alfaro. But I just don't really have much interest in like Nomar Mazara. He died like 10 years ago. Luke Voit, everybody knows my feelings on Luke Voit. Eric Hosmer, nice start to his season, but now he's dropped down to 296, 357, 418. He's on his way back to that 265, 325. 387 triple slash that we know and love from Eric Hosmer. Only 4 home runs still on the season, down to a 122 ISO. He'll be back to Eric Hosmer's career numbers before long. So yeah, it really is just about Manny Machado for me.
Not gonna lie to you, I didn't know Nomar Mazara was on the Padres.
Yeah, he popped up middle of last week, I would say.
Had no idea.
Yeah, not sure what he had been doing in between.
I'm guessing I didn't miss out on anything.
No, well, I hear it was a very good podcast. True crime podcast.
Well, then there we go. There we go. I have no clue either. But we have Mania Mondays. Yes, 3 p.m. Eastern time. Nick Lepre, Matt Gajewski. They're going to be doing a best ball on, a different platform, not PrizePicks, but you want to check out that platform. They're fantastic. It's going to be a lot of fun. So Mania Mondays, check it out on the Best Ball channel. Yes, we have an awesome Best Ball channel. Utilize it. Go subscribe, like it. Go watch them hang out for a little bit doing some of those picks. MLB Deeper Dive, that'll be 4:45 p.m. Eastern time. And then starting up at 5:48 Eastern time, me and Greg will be back talking a little baseball. Looking forward to it. But yeah, Josh and Adam, Adam live from Los Angeles. That should be fun. But Terry, any final words for the people as we get out of here?
Good luck out there. My article will be up on the site later on. I think I got a PrizePicks video coming as well. So stick around. We'll have tons of content for you. Good luck tonight.
Beautiful. He's Terry. He's just not the die. America. I can't. We'll see you guys later.